So to start, we're gonna talk about points, lines, and planes. This right here, I know that this is a line because it's got arrows at both ends, so that shows it goes on forever. So that'll be lines. When you have segments, you'll see later that they don't have those arrowheads. So those arrowheads show that it is a line. You can switch the letters. It doesn't matter the order of the letters. You could also use these lowercase letters. Now, usually over here in the picture, this D would normally be right here. This is where it should be. So usually if it's going to name a line by the arrowhead, it'll just have a D here. So the D is not a point. It's just going along with this arrowhead, and that is line D. Now, when they use the capital letters, these are points. So points, N and M, and it doesn't matter which way you go because it takes 2 dots to name a line. That's all you need. So if you have 2 dots, you can make a line through it. And then they always have arrows on both sides because they go on forever. The quadrants, if you forget what quadrants are when we're talking about an XY axis, this is the X axis, the Y axis. I'm sure you know that. When you name them, and usually they use Roman numerals, but we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So usually to help people remember them, I say it makes a C. So that's how you count. So if you drew a C, this is the first quadrant you come to, the second, the third, and the fourth. So M is in quadrant 1. Quadrant just means basically this box right here, formed by the XY axis. And then if you're looking for N is in this box over here, so this is quadrant 3. And then we have some new vocabulary, collinear. If you look at the word, this is a nice little cheat right here. So it's a giveaway. Collinear, it has the word line in it. They are points on the same line. So N and M are collinear with each other. Also, we're going to talk about planes. So planes, think of it like a piece of paper, but it is infinite. Sorry, it's hard to write on this. So it is an infinite 2-dimensional surface. When I say 2-dimensional, it means length and width. There is no height. So height is when you have something like a cube where you can, that would be your 3rd dimension. Okay, so when we talk about planes, a plane is always named by 3 points, and they cannot be in the same line. So they cannot, if you can draw a line through all 3 of them, it's not okay. So that will be an incorrect answer. So it just has to be 3 points that is in the plane or in the box, like over here, like C, D, and E. They are not in the same line. There's no way I can draw a straight line through all 3 of them. You could also do it by a capital letter in the corner. So like G right there. So see this capital letter? G is not a point. So G is not a point. It's just a capital letter in the corner. There's no dot next to G. So that you can also name it like that. So also, another vocab word we have is coplanar. So coplanar points are in the same plane with one another. So it also has the cheat in there. So collinear has the word line in it, and coplanar has the word plane in it. So that should be easy enough to remember. So these points, these 3 points that we're talking about, I was just talking about that, they cannot be on the same line. So these points cannot be collinear. So they cannot be on the same line. So down here, if you would like to name it, it says plane, and we're going to call it plane G. So you don't even have to do anything fancy with it. No arrows above it, no planes above it, nothing. It's just a G. So if you wanted to, you can name it with the 3 letters, C, D, E. They do not have to be in any specific order. You could also name it plane D, C, E. It doesn't matter. So we don't need any dots, any planes, nothing above it. If it's just 3 letters, it's understood to be a plane. So most of the rest of this is just going to be examples. So I'll try to get through them kind of quickly. Like I said, you can always pause and rewind if you need. Now, this says name the intersections. So intersections where they cross. Intersections of CB, which is this line, and AF, which is this black line. Now, this black line is not in the plane. It's only touching the plane right here. So the only place the black line touches that entire plane is at point F. And CB also goes through F. So the intersection of those two is just going to be point F. And you do not have to put a dot or anything in front. If it's just one letter, that's a dot. Name a point that is not coplanar, so not on the same plane as with plane R. Now notice R is in the corner here, so that goes with the plane. The P goes with the arrow, so this is line P. So we're talking about plane R. We want a point that is not on plane R. The only point not on plane R is A. So that's kind of out in space. If you want to think of it like the blue plane is a piece of paper and the black line is a pencil going up and down, the pencil is only touching the piece of paper in one spot. Okay, so A. Name a point that is collinear on the same line with CF. So we need another point that is on the same line here. You cannot say P or R. Those are not points. The only other point on CF is point B. Oops. Okay, now it says 3 points that are collinear and coplanar. So we need 3 points that are on the same line and in the same plane. So it's got to be in the box and it's got to be collinear. So we need 3 of them. And that's just going to be something like C, F, and B. That could be one example, or you could also do E, F, and D. They are collinear on the same line, and they are on the same plane. You just can't name the plane with collinear points. So I'll use E, F, and D. To show that I'm not naming a plane, I'm going to put commas between them. I'm sorry, my handwriting is really bad today, apparently. And then name 3 points that are coplanar but not collinear. So we need them in the same plane, but not in the same line. So there's a bunch of examples here. 2 of them can be on the same line, like C and F, but we need one that's not going to be in the same line since I want it not collinear, like E. So C, F, and E. Again, separate points with commas. Okay? Name a line in figure 3 different ways. So in this figure, we can name it with the L. The cursive L goes with the arrowhead. So you can just say L, and you don't have to say line L. And then you just need 2. Do not use 3. 3 is for a plane. So only 2 letters, and we cannot use T because T is not on that line. So you can use PQ. Make sure you make it a line. So when you write it with points, you have to use these arrowheads above it. And then we can do something like QR. Order of the letters doesn't matter. So there's more than one optional answer. And if you ever want to try to guess these answers before I give them to you, you're welcome to pause the notes and see if you get anything right. But you could have also used QP, QR, RQ, RP, PR. Any of those are fine. And then we are going to name a plane in the figure 3 different ways. So the plane, I'm supposed to use 3 letters that are not collinear. So I can't say plane PQR, not okay. But I can do PQT. This time, no commas, because this is a plane. Okay, you could have also done something like QRT. And basically any order with 3 of these dots, one of them has to be a T. So T and 2 other letters is fine. Do not use L though. And then one more way could be QPT. Okay. And finally, the last part, how many planes are shown in the figure. So planes, remember, was like a piece of paper, but it can also be right here. We have a hexagon. There's a 6-sided figure. So it doesn't matter. That can still be a plane. Basically, it's a polygon. So obviously, we've got that one in the middle. We got the one on top and the one on bottom. This is a 3D figure, so you have to kind of use your imagination. So I got 3 so far, one on top, one on bottom, and the one in the middle. And then I've also got the 3 in the front, these 3 rectangles, 1, 2, 3. And then there's 3 in the back, 1, 2, 3. So I've got 6 around here. Top, bottom, and middle. That's going to be 9 different planes shown. Okay, now I've got named 3 coplanar points. So I need points on the same plane. So any one of these figures that have 3 points in the same plane, probably the easiest would be the shaded figure in the middle. Any of those 3 points would work. You could also use PDE. That's 3 points on this bottom plane. It doesn't matter. So we'll just use A, B, and C. Again, if they're points, separate them with commas. So our A, B, C, and Q coplanar. So A, B, and C are, but Q is on the top plane. So A, B, and C are coplanar, but since Q is on a different plane, it's on the one on the top. This is a no. Then they want to know if P and E are on the same line. So P and E, there is no line here. So since they are not on the same line, then they are not collinear. They are coplanar. And if there was a line drawn through them, they'd be collinear, but there is not. So no. Okay? That's basically the whole lesson. So I'm going to give you this assignment. This assignment comes out of the book. Some of these answers have more than one answer, and we can always talk about that when we do our live session. So quick and easy, rewind, replay, do whatever you need, and good luck.